We can move the column width for column B. So if we click on this line between B and C now with your left mouse button, you can drag it over and then you can see all of it without that line. But these lines really don't make any difference in the scheme of things. Later on we're not actually going to be able to see the lines, so for now I'm happy enough just to leave it as it is. And the next cell will be the place we put make a selection for our conversion, the one immediately under that. But I want a column between choose your conversion and how much and the input by the user. So the user is going to type in a value for the amount of the conversion, so we need to type in input, press enter, and then two more cells to the right of that we will type the word output. As I think I said earlier, we won't worry about formatting at this stage. We do, however, need to put bold lines around these input areas, and clicking on the cell at the moment, which is below your heading choose your conversion, hold down your control key on your keyboard. While you do that, then select the cell immediately under the word input, and keeping your finger on that control key, now click on the cell immediately under output with your left mouse button. Release the control key and right click on your mouse, come down to format cells. And now here we want to put a bold line around those, so we're going to select a boldish sort of line from over here under the style, and you can change the color if you wish and select outline. At this stage you may want to put in a fill color, so you can choose a color if you like, but that's probably better to the last. As I said before, we'll do all our formatting at the end of it, so you can fill it here. This is the menu we're using. So click on OK and we go back to this view. Now what we need to put in is our conversions, the formulas and the selection that's going to be in a drop down menu right here. Now I've actually typed those in and I've hidden them, so I'm just going to reveal them for you, and I'll show you how to do that later. I'm going to bring that down a little bit as well, so right click and insert will bring my table down a bit. Okay, so this is what you actually need to type. So what we need to do now is you need to type in all of these values and words in these columns below these three input outputs here. Okay, so pause the video at this point please and do that. Right, welcome back. So now we need to make a drop down menu from here. Okay, so we want the user to be able to click on a down arrow that'll bring up this menu. So selecting this cell, we go up to the data ribbon and across to data validation. Select data validation, and what we need to do is we want to come up with our criteria. So we want to allow a list, and our source, we click on this icon here and select a range over here. Now I've selected that first cell as well. Notice that I've got two rows there. I've selected that first cell that's blank because when we have a drop down I want to be able to have no words there. So once I've selected that range, I click on that down arrow again and I come across here to input message. I want to put in a message for the user. I'll type in a title, make a selection, choose your conversion from the drop down menu, full stop, and we'll click on OK. So what that's done is it's given us a message here for the user so they know what to do. They click on the down arrow and they can choose a selection, and we can go down and so on, move that back, and that's why I left the blank row, was because I wanted that there. So we're up to the formulas, and I suggest you leave a column between where you type your formula and you have these values, and it'll come a little bit more obvious in a moment. But we always start our formulas with an equals. We say this cell equals, and our formula is going to be convert open bracket, and our number will refer to the input, so the input that the user is going to put in. So we select that cell, and then we press F4, the function key F4 on your keyboard. That is the function row on the top of your keyboard. Press F4 followed by a comma, and you'll see that the formula here, convert open bracket number, and it shows you there is a comma you need, and then it says it wants the from unit. Now our from unit is this value in this cell, in this case FC. That value means Celsius in this case. Comma, another comma, and then we want to convert, so from unit, in this case C, to unit, in this case will be F, which is in G10. So we select that and close our bracket and press enter. Having done that, let's have one more look at that. We are going to convert the value that is in D7, take it in as a Celsius, because that's the value of F10, and we're going to convert that to the value that's in G10, which is Fahrenheit, and we press enter. Now the easy way to fill up this table, now we've got all this populated already, is we just drag that down. So watch my cursor, it changes to a plus sign, and then I drag it down like so, and that's looking pretty good. That is all working so far. Now the reason that we used these names here for degrees and Celsius and degrees Fahrenheit is we want these values here to show up beside the input, and we want these values to show up beside this. So we're going to use what is called a lookup. Before we do that, we need to create a lookup table. So we need to select all of this down the bottom here. We look up from this cell where it says convert Celsius to Fahrenheit, click on that cell, leave your finger on the left mouse button, drag your mouse down to the bottom right to the last cell containing text, which happens to be centimeter, and then we go up to our formula ribbon, and we're going to give that whole range there a name. So we come up and define name, and we're going to, there we are, that will do, convert degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit, and click on OK. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to look up for the output, we're going to look up the value that's in here, and we're going to do this calculation, show based on what the input is, the output. Sounds a bit confusing, but let's just do it, and we'll work our way through it slowly. So we're going to look up a value here, which is going to look up this table and give us the conversion that we're looking for. So we start with equals, we always say this cell equals, and we're going to do what is called a VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUP, open bracket, and it is prompting us, it's saying what value do you want to look up? Well, we're going to look up the value that is in this cell over here, comma, it's showing it with, we need a comma there, and it's asking you what's the table array you want to look up. That is the table we just created, which was called convert degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So we double click on that, and it says we need a comma after that, so we put in our comma, and it wants to know the column index, and what that is referring to is this is column 1, the next one is column 2, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and this value here. Okay, under the input there. We select 1, 2, 3. We type in column index is 3, comma, and we want an exact max, so we hide false. Close our bracket and press enter. Now it's giving us an error because there is nothing in there. There's no value in these two cells. So what we need to do is double click on that formula, and we're going to add something to this. We're going to make this into an if statement. So we go if, after the equals, we type in if, open bracket, and we type it using a new function is blank, open bracket, and we choose that cell, close our bracket, comma. Now what we're saying is, if this cell is blank, if B7 is blank, nothing in it, two double quotation marks, it means we don't want to show anything, comma. Now we're looking at the value if it's false. So if that's not blank, we want to look up this table and do this conversion. Go to the very end and type in a closing bracket and press enter. So at the moment nothing is showing up because there's nothing in here. But as soon as I change this, it looks up the table and it does that conversion. At this point I want to move that over so you can see what's happening here. If I type in, say, 100 for Celsius degrees, it tells me the output, which is 212, which is working just how we wanted it. So let's go back to our blank there. There we go, that will convert it. We can empty that now. And the next thing is we want to show up in this cell here is this list, the value from this list based on whatever this value here is. So we do another VLOOKUP. So we go equals VLOOKUP, open bracket, look up this value, comma, and then we type in convert that one there, we choose that, comma. Then the column index is not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7, comma, false because we want exact, and press enter. Again we're getting that error. We need to add the if function, so after the if we type if, open bracket, is blank, open bracket, choose that cell, close your bracket, comma, and put in a double quotation there after the comma, comma again, and then a last final closing bracket. That will work for us.